So what's happening now is that I arrived in Cape Town 2 days ago. Cape Town International. So what I'm doing now is I'm just going to make to Harare to Zimbabwe, because tomorrow morning I've got to travel all the way to Vumba, and I'm going to pick up some coffee, current harvest coffee, which I will then bring back to the Cape Town Cocoa and Coffee Week. So it's going to be fresh coffee bean that we're going to be using there. And then I will also have some green coffee that I'm going to be bringing back into the UK. So from November, we'll be able to get a chance to order current harvest coffee. It's literally coming off the field this season. So yeah, so I'm going to Zimbabwe now, and on my way to Mutare, and always passing by my favorite pit stop in Marondera to see a fantastic guy called Tino. He's the ultimate coffee guy, the best there is.
Yeah,
the best Zimbabwe. There is in Zimbabwe. He runs the Barista Academy.
Yeah,
he's making sure.
Yeah, we train baristas in Zimbabwe.
Yes,
the only barista school in Zimbabwe. Eh?
Yeah, that's fantastic, man. That's fantastic. That's fantastic. So what do we have here today? It is. Wow, this is fantastic, man. Mushe Coffee. So I like this setup. So yeah, this is a nice setup now. You know, I was here when this was delivered, remember?
Yeah, no, you were there.
Yeah.
You never know.
Yeah. And the guy from South Africa, what was his name? The master roaster. Jacko, yes. He actually roasted a batch for me.
Yes. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
So
How's been business though?
No, it's been good. Can I make you a coffee?
Yeah, of course. Of course. Here at Mushe Coffee in Marondera, this is like I said, my favorite pit stop. Every time I'm going to Mutare, I always stop by here. Wonderful guys. The place was. Hey Tino, is the place still a cupboard? No. It's now Masasa Village. Yeah, it used to be Kabod, and Kabod, those of Kabod means glory of God, isn't it? Yeah, it used to be called a Kabod Coffee Academy, but it's now Masasa because it's changed hands. Danny Grobler used to work here, but he's decided to up and go. And if Danny, if you come across this, I'm going to hunt for you one day. We have a conversation to have. But yeah, this is fantastic. I'm just enjoying the setup here. These guys are doing an amazing job. So the coffee scene in Zimbabwe is alive, and it's only going to get better and bigger and greater. So watch this space in 2025. But most importantly, if ever you are on your way from Harare to Marondera, you can do your quick stop at Sare, get your pie, bring it over here. How do you get here? The first service station, what service station is that, by the way? Petro Trade, as you're coming into Marondera, and then you just turn left, cross the rail line, and then turn left again, and you're in. Lovely palm trees that you see on the outside, and you won't get lost. Mushe Coffee by Musasa. So what's the green coffee supply like for you guys? Is it also is it struggle? Are you getting
so coffee is a challenge because it's well, I'm just speaking generally. It's a challenge just because there's a lot of global trends that are affecting.
Yeah.
Like this next coming season, globally, we expect that there's going to be a shortage of coffee just because the climate changes and things and stuff.
Yeah.
Because of where we are and our capacity, we're still okay. Generally, with every group matches that we approach, they seem to be able to accommodate us for the volume.
But where are you getting the coffee from though?
So we're getting coffees from the farmers primarily. So we've got Zim coffee, which we're getting directly from the farmers. So that forms the bulk of our coffees that we normally do here. And then we also, just for variety, we also import some coffees like Uganda, Colombia, Ethiopia, just to try to give in a bit of varieties. So when we send out our coffees, we've got single origins, like Zimbabwe, we try to keep it single origin.
It's best single origin Zimbabwe.
Single origin. And then for the other blends, then we're just trying to blend in here and there, just try to get certain flavor. So Colombia, North America. Yes, we did sample a Mexican at some point.
Central.
Yeah. So, but that's pretty much for us. It's just pretty much Colombia and Mexican.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
But the scope is there to try other coffees. So they're definitely there, but it's just a question of where you sit in terms of your volumes. I know there's a certain threshold. Once you get there, you start to really feel this the leg in the market in terms of the coffee supply. But for where we are, we're still fine.
No, we'll be fine. We'll be fine. We're changing that. The guys down the road, they're gonna up the game.
So it's actually one of our drives as well, is to make sure that we also participate in changing the landscape of coffee in Zimbabwe. So primarily we're looking backwards. So we're working directly with the farmers, and the main reason for that is we're trying to encourage them to stay in coffee. So the trends that you're seeing now with your farmers, like in the Hondi area, you start to see that a lot of farmers now, they're starting to take down their coffee trees, preferring to go into bananas, macadamias, just because there's money there than in coffee. So what we're then trying to do is we go in there, and then we try at least to offer something better than what the current players are currently doing. So we pay outside of the stock exchange. We pay higher.
Of course, always.
And we try to retain some form of partnerships with them. Like we've got a farmer that we're working with right now, and he's in a profit.
Where is the Honde Valley?
So he's in Honde Valley, in an area called Mutare Heights. His name is David.
David. Amatimbe.
Yes.
No, of course, I'm probably going to pass by on Sunday on my way back. And he's a good man. He does my nurseries for the farmers.
Is it?
Yeah, so I give him all the so and then he sets up this nurseries, and then I give out to the guys there.
It looks like he's quite popular with a lot of coffee roasters.
No, he's been in the game. When coffee was first introduced in Honde Valley back in 1981-82, he was there.
Yeah, so you can see there's the wealth of knowledge is there.
Yeah, oh my goodness.
The crop itself, the area itself is well informed on that, which is good. And he's quite receptive, And but the thing is, now you look at all of that, and you see that nothing really has changed for him. And then you look at, but this guy has been serving the market for a long time, and we're just trying to say, hey, what can we do in our capacity?
Can I tell you something about him that you probably, I don't know if he's shared. His son that is there is an agri-tax officer.
Yes,
he's got 2 other sons in South Africa.
Yes, I know.
And it's amazing that he's got one son who is an agri-tax officer, and he's got one son who is a roaster, and he's got another son who is running a coffee shop in South Africa, and he's farming the coffee. So imagine that journey if they were to set up his,
So he has done very well. And funny enough, I spoke to one of his sons who is roasting, and exactly that's where his mind is at. It's like, we need to consolidate this. We just don't want to farm it, but we want to add.
Because it's just fragmented, and you're thinking if they've got everything they need end to end.
So he's already playing around with some of the coffee in South Africa. Just to see what he can do with it. So I think when you look at that, so that framework is actually something also that we were trying to just get going with farmers, to say, we just don't want you to stick on the one side of this value chain, because there's a lot of potential to upstream as well. So we are trying to.
No, well done for that, because that's my whole. Tino knows this. That's what I've been doing for the last, since 2017 when Mushe started.
So being here has also helped, because this place attracts high profile people. And they come and we share these stories with them. The other time we were here with she was the Minister of what? The Minister of Education. She was here. Guys, this is where it should be. Like, beneficiation should be down there. Like, there's no reason why the roaster should be here in Marondera. This roaster should actually be down there in Chimani.
An interesting development though, sorry to cut you off, an interesting development is that the Minister has just put 40 hectares under coffee in Chipinge.
Who's that? Guys are getting back into coffee. You'll be shocked. There's quite a few guys coming back into the game.
That changes, because once you get interest at the highest level, then I was talking to the guys. They should have picked up their trees from Chipinge Research Institute. They've got 300 hectares they want to put.
So, but then you see, like, it's good to have that. You have the crop on the ground, but it's also good to have the knowledge and the skill that follows with that. Because like coffee now, it's evolving. Guys are, there's like different processing methods going on. You know, you get the naturals.
Yeah.
Zimbabwe doesn't produce any natural process, natural process.
Yeah, it's always washed.
Those carbonic missiles where they put the ferment coffee in CO2 tanks.
Yeah.
Guys are not doing that, but it'll be good to have that with the new crop. You know what I mean? And
yeah.
So the good thing there is that look, additional elements are there.
Yes.
The guys who are knowledgeable about coffee are there. It's just a question now of just trying to say, okay, look, how do we update?
Yes.
What we currently know.
This update.
Because now you go there, you're going to see that they've been on the ground for ages.
Katimo. It's the technical side of things, of managing the trees and managing just the various aspects around the farm. I mean, a few farmers. I mean, the Vumba guys, the Jack and those guys. They and the woman, what's her name, Bugando. They're very good at looking after the trees, and so it's easier for a lot of these guys that are there who do not possess as high a skill as Muganyura and the other guys. So the Katimo becomes safe because it's easier to manage as a tree, and because the idea of then pest control and becomes a big issue. Leaf rust becomes a big issue. But I think
we also sit in a very interesting position in that there's a lot of push now for organic coffee.
Yes.
And you just don't see. Well, good thing is guys here are doing semi-organic, which means there is scope for it to go fully organic, but it's also tricky. It's also tricky because
so here's an interesting thing. Here's an interesting thing that I say. So I was speaking to earlier in the year when I was in Wonder Valley. I was speaking to, and so he's complaining that since they banned the red triangles and the purple triangles, the green triangles that are supposed to be environmentally friendly, what have you, says they don't work. So what he's now doing is he's pretty much using indigenous knowledge and all sorts of things, ash, and this thing of removing the bark at the bottom so that the Antestia doesn't lay its eggs there, or the borer, the stalk borer, the stem borer. So here's the interesting thing. As he was talking, and I was saying, does this man realize that he's actually producing organic coffee by him trying to find and nobody's just then slapping a label on it to say this is organic. There are no.
I think it's this question of the black dot effect, where you've got this white canvas and there's just one black dot there.
Yeah.
And then you fail to see the big picture because you're fixated on that. And I think in their cases it's because of that, because the instances, but it's minimal, where they get to put fertilizers, chemical, and then he forgets everything else, the 90% of the things that he's doing.
Yes.
That makes the process.
That's very important.
Yeah.
That's a very important observation, because it's been put in the mind that you need fertilizer. And yet perhaps the solutions that he actually has, they will produce him a better crop than, but because you've been told you need the commercialization side of things that,
So the last time we were with him, that was in July. He's got his compost now nicely laid out. It's like, no, that's my manure for the crop. So you can see that he is really putting effort.
No, I will tell you, not just don't focus on him. I will tell you from his homestead, if you just go down past, his toilet on there, if you go down, there is a lady.
Yes.
Noria is her first name, and her husband, but Noria does the coffee. The husband wants the bananas because bananas are quick money. But Noria does the coffee. Her knowledge, and she had stopped. So beginning of last year, gave her some trees to restart.
Yeah.
Excited. Next time you go there, just say to Muganyura, we want to go and see Noria. There's a young man I'm keen to really get going, but maybe you can help him, because at times he forgets, because he's got another gig going. He does flyers, he designs, and he's the homestead just before Muganyura on the left. There's a young man there, Chino University, graduated from there in design and design technology or whatever it is that he does, graphic design. And he went back, gave him some trees, but because young man, he wants quick back, so he just goes to Auna, then he does flyers, logos for people. But his mind, if people like him really get serious, because they've got a certain way of looking at things, university educated, and he can really get things going. He's got a few trees now. He should be getting into first harvest. this year, because that was 3 years ago when I gave him the trees.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. Please do share his contact.
Yeah. In the industry needs people like him, because when I'm Ganyura getting old.
They are, and
you know,
and you really can't teach David anything new.
Yeah, exactly. He's just stuck with the ways that you know that they've served him so well over the years.
He's done well. I think his family is well positioned to take this to the next level.
Yes, because he's actually parceled out. He's a clever man.
No, he is.
He's parceled out that whole land. He will tell you this one belongs to Nyson, this one belongs to this.
So he always does this. Like, okay, so I've got this so much land. This 5 is for my wife. This much.
Yeah,
he's
actually
so everyone has got. Which sort of makes sense because everyone pulls in it.
Yes, and then so the genius of that, when I was talking to him, the genius of that is he just as a family. It's interesting that all of them now are keen, because their coffee is separate. They are keen to see who is producing the best. So that little mini competition that is happening within the family actually puts the effort on the farm itself.
And it's also giving him the energy to actually open up more land. Because
yeah. So talk to me about this coffee. I've just been served some nice coffee here.
So that's Masara, right? So that's David's coffee. Yeah, that you'll be having there.
Sama Timbe.
Yeah, take your sip and let me know what you think before I pollute you.
It's a familiar. Nice.
You know, like it's funny because we have different blends of coffee today. So, and one of our blends was an imported blend, and it actually did really well in coffee shops for the past while, until the past recently, local coffees like overtaking Lovemore blend, and guys are more leaning into local.
Yeah.
And
very important.
That is actually that's been really good, and they're very supportive to a point that they actually, because there's been a lot of coffee shops in Harare. Guys are opening coffee shops in Harare, plenty, and guys are leaning into they want something local. They want to appreciate something local, and if you can do something, if you can get good local coffee, guys will support.
Why that is important is, coffee is about the palate. And you get used to a certain. If people just get used to the Zimbabwean taste in their mouths, then you're sorted. It becomes a lot easier because that becomes their coffee. They don't want to change. They don't want anything from South America. They don't want anything from Asia. They want that Zimbabwean flavor in their mouth.
I think it's been like that, exposing themselves to Zim coffee. I think over time it's sort of grown on them, and now everyone wants to get on that coffee. Everyone wants.
Yeah, so we want to do this thing because we really need to take the coffee culture. Because what I noticed, like the things that you're talking about, the coffee culture in Zimbabwe is not defined. You have a lot of people having coffee and they just say tea.
Yes,
What beverage is tea?
One defining anything that you put sugar in is tea.
Tea. Yeah. So we need to define the culture, obviously, at different levels. And really have some kind of a geography, a map and a layout of what the coffee scene should be like. The Zimbabwean coffee scene should be like. Somebody traveling from wherever, they will come and they'll say, I experienced the Zimbabwean coffee scene. And it's got to be defined in a certain way. Even if it means you guys, you come up with something that we'll call the Zimbabwean coffee. Locals, palates, and what have you, and that becomes the Zimbabwean coffee. But I was in Vietnam last month. Fascinating place. The coffee scene is absolutely crazy. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. The country is coffee, but the Robusta variety. But you wouldn't even think that it's a country that 90% of the coffee they produce is Robusta, because they have worked on it so well that even out of that Robusta, you get good coffee. And they do also, so I attended a masterclass done by this lady. And so they've got they've got egg coffee, but their standard ingredient is condensed milk. Yeah, and then they've got egg coffee, they've got the salt coffee, and the bean coffee, the Vietnamese coffee, the actual coffee. And all of them, which was what I found interesting, all of them were a necessity out of a hardship. It was easier to use vaporized milk because things are not just working out in the early days, and then that becomes the traditional coffee drink, and they sell it so well, the experience, everything.
So what do you say? But you know what? Like I've been talking to a lot of guys. Like yesterday we were in Harare, so we visited one of the coffee shops that we want to supply coffee to. So they asked us to come in and sample the Masara height. It's funny because, like, you know, I had a lot of problems with the baristas. Like, it was hectic because, I mean, you want to try to tell someone how to make Masara, but the guys, they're full of themselves, that they have to tell you how to make Masara.
Yeah, your biggest challenge, Tino, with the Barista Academy, and we need to work on that. So, I mean, it's a good thing. So you've got people that have gone to South Africa, you know, and they've worked in the Cape Town thing, and they've been trained as baristas to work in cafes and everything. So what they're really good is just doing the milk and doing the latte art, but the actual
down to the root, you know, the basics.
You don't get that training because the people that are running coffee shop, they just want you to be able to serve a nice drink with a nice looking heart or a swan and everything. So if our baristas, that's why the competition is now, because we want to get them to know
from
A to Z, to know the coffee itself, you know, what makes a good cup, what, you know, the extraction, what, everything, the technical side of things, not just, you know, machine run and then.
So that has been that. So that is one of our hardest things, you know, like. But I mean, there's room for growth.
Yes.
The guys are keen.
Serious room for growth.
Once you, because there hasn't been any room or anywhere for guys to come together and learn, you know, because I mean, everyone. I mean, there's not like a structure of.
We'll correct that. We'll correct that. We'll correct that.
But it's been good. Like all the guys that I've met are keen. You know, like I've been spreading the word. Our guys are keen. So we'll see.
Yeah, because one of the things I was thinking as well, because the way I don't know how much. So what we want to do is with the competition is we want to do sort of like a provincial competition, Idol style. So we get a winner from Matabeleland, Midlands, Mashonaland, Manicaland. So they go into a final, and then we have a national champion, and then we get the national champion to go into the world championships, the winner. And one of the things that we are really keen on getting going. So I was thinking, because you get a lot of Zimbabweans in South Africa, what I was actually thinking, Tino, was do a wild card. So we've got the Zimbabwean provinces. We then have a wild card Cape Town. Cape Town. So we get the Cape Town baristas competition, and then they are part of the Zimbabwe Barista Throwdown, but they're doing it as a Cape Town winner. So Cape Town becomes one of the provinces. Yeah. So the winner from Cape Town comes in, so they stand a chance to be the Zimbabwe Barista champion as well. And I think that would then begin to get even the guys in South Africa to say, look, this is not just for me to, you know, put food on my table. I can actually have a career out of this.
For the national. For
the national. So we are working in Vumba. We are working on, we're putting the infrastructure. We've got 4.7 hectares of land. So that's where the nursery that we were trying to put up instead of, because Mkanyura is a nursery that we support, and then, you know, Madara Kwana Jack, and then but we want to have a central nursery for Vumba, and then Coffee Institute does the Chipinge side, and then we just keep Mkanyura doing the Wonder Valley coffee. So, but what we're doing with that piece of land on the lower Vumba side is we want to put like a coffee resort. So we're putting the infrastructure for a coffee resort and a school of excellence for here to be able to really do a proper academy. And then, so that's where we are hoping that by the time the finals, the national finals, and we're going to do the first ever Zimbabwe Coffee Festival. Yeah. So we're going to bring in try and bring in a few people from outside as well, just because there is an interest in Zimbabwean coffee globally, you know. So we're going to do that. Yeah. So we will have that. So the idea really is to just get a certain type of conversation around coffee in Zimbabwe going, not just locally but globally, because there is such a huge interest in Zimbabwean coffee everywhere you go. And
I have a few contacts, you know, like I have a nice relationship with Mushe.
Oh, you were saying,
yeah. They have a coffee shop.
Yeah.
So they're in Marondera, they have a very good tea group. So that can be, if we can find a way, we can use that as a venue for provincials, because I think every province is got a mountain in it.
Yeah.
So
I think it'll sorry to but I think here will be a great venue.
Because originally I actually thought here would be there.
Fantastic.
So you saw on the flyer, I've got this place, isn't it?
No, this a nice spot.
This is a nice.
Because it'll be good,
You
just
can crack it.
If it's gonna be a lot of people coming and attending, we've got an extra space down there. We can just take it in the next yard. But I think here would be good.
I think this is very nice.
It's really nice. Yeah. It's a nice place, and I think a lot of people appreciate because this community was built around coffee.
Yeah.
So I think this is something. That
Yeah.
people enjoy.
Because the things that are the ones that I wasn't sure about. That's why, because originally I wanted to do all the 10 provinces, and then I thought, I mean, if we do much central, I mean Mazowe, you know.
Like it. So,
Yeah. And so then I just said, okay, we'll bring it down to the whole, instead of Mashonaland West and East, and just do Mashonaland. And then the only ones that divided up, Blower and Harare would just retain, but Matabeleland would just be Matabeleland and Blower. And then you've just got Midlands, and then you've just got Mashonaland, and then you've got Harare, then you've got Manicaland. The guys in Masvingo are going to hate me because I'm combining them with Midlands. Because I couldn't imagine getting. But the thing is, what I thought was, because it's not geographical, you only need to come from Masvingo, wherever you're based, to represent Masvingo. You only need to come from Masvingo to represent your province. So it doesn't really matter where you have it, because I'm sure there's plenty of people from Masvingo. We're in Cape Town, Harare, and everywhere that are baristas that can represent their province. Yeah.
It'll be nice to have something like that on a coffee cup.
Yeah.
I think it's really good.
yes. But what do you? My question. I think.
For all time's sake. As time goes by. It's been a long time. Some of the old songs. For all time's sake.
Back again at one of my favorite places, the Zimbabwe Coffee Mill. So this is the Zimbabwe Coffee Mill. These are the offices, and yes, looking through the window, he is there, right there. Right. Let's have a look. Knock, 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 knock. Inside the boardroom, the Zimbabwe Coffee Mill. So I'm about to enter into the most important man in the Coffee Valley chain. He goes by the name of Johannes Jory. Mr. Jory, how are you? Not too bad. How are you getting on? You can also smile for the camera.
What's that?
This is the man who sees everything, the operations here at the coffee mill. So very excited because I'm about to reveal that is a bag with my name on it, and that is what is called coffee seed. So I've got 5 kgs that these guys have prepared for me, so which we're going to put down in the nursery down the road in Vumba. So 5 kgs of seed produces 15,000 trees. That's what we're going to get. 15,000 trees will go into 5 hectares. So as soon as that is done, when the rains come, we're going to put that to the ground, and then we'll be giving it to 1 or 2 of the farmers to put in their field. Excited. Looks very clean, looks very nice. And it's the CAT 129, that's Catimo 129, that's the varietal. So maybe a quick thing about Catimo. So Catimo is a varietal that is resistant to the most deadly disease that affects coffee trees, which is coffee leaf rust. So it's a bit resistant. It's more resistant than the other varietals, But the only problem is Katimo, compared to the other varietals, it's a slightly lower value, but because of how it's looked after and how it's tended to and the whole processing, it will still come out, and be able to produce some specialty grade coffee. But it is, preferably, if we could do SL9, SL28, it'll be better because that produces better quality coffee than Katimo 129. But at the same time, the battle with disease will be a lot greater, so it will end up being more costly for the farmers. And those are the challenges that the farmers continue to grapple with. But they are winning. As I was being told earlier, the drought has really affected production this year. But we shall see. We'll keep pushing. And over here, I've got the coffee that Mr. Mlambo freshly roasted for me to take back to Cape Town. And with that, I was on my way back to Harare so I could fly back to Cape Town for the coffee and cocoa.